Before the whispers began, Oba-Nso was a village that seemed untouched by the passage of time. Its red clay huts leaned gently toward one another as if huddling for warmth beneath the quiet gaze of the moon. Palm trees swayed softly, their leaves whispering secrets only the wind could carry. At night, the river, Mmiri Ndu, flowed like silver silk through the village, reflecting the moonlight with an almost hypnotic glow. The people lived in harmony with this rhythm, their lives tied to the water that gave them food, memory, and spirit. The children played barefoot along its banks, and the elders spoke of ancestors whose footsteps had once followed the river's path down from distant hills, leaving behind not just land, but a legacy of sacred tradition. No one dared whistle after midnight, for the river, they said, remembered everything. Even the faintest echo of a careless note could awaken something ancient, something waiting silently beneath the surface. Ada was a figure who seemed to belong partly to the living world and partly to some other unseen realm. Her beauty was striking. Sharp eyes like shards of obsidian, a smile that could soften the harshest temper, and skin the color of warm mahogany kissed by sunlight. She lived alone in the small hut her mother had built near the forest's edge, and though the villagers often whispered about her, none could deny the quiet strength she carried. One night, as she stood by her window, her gaze caught something impossible. A soft, blue glow outside, forming the unmistakable shape of her mother, long dead, yet somehow present. A faint whisper floated through the night air. "Ada, my daughter?" Her heart pounded violently, her hands trembling against the wooden lattice. Fear and longing clashed within her, a mixture of dread, curiosity, and the pull of something she could not resist. Every instinct screamed to stay inside, yet some deeper, almost magnetic force urged her to listen, to respond, to move. She opened the door. The night air was thick, almost tangible, carrying the scent of wet earth, river mud, and distant rain. Mist crawled across the ground, curling around her ankles like living tendrils. Faint spirals of glowing symbols, the language of the river itself, she realized with a shiver, twisted along the sand, leading toward the forest edge. Her breath came in sharp gasps, visible in the cold moonlight, as a low, haunting voice drifted through the fog. It was soft, yet unmistakable. "Ada, my daughter." She stepped forward barefoot, feeling the pulse of something ancient beneath her feet. The village slept, unaware of the growing presence, but Ada knew. The river was awake, watching and waiting. Every shadow seemed to stretch toward her, every leaf whispered secrets, and for the first time in her life, she felt the true weight of the world she had inherited. The village of Oba-Nso lay nestled between two great hills, its heart beating with the rhythm of simple, honest life. By day, the marketplace became a riot of color and movement. Women balanced baskets of peppers, yams, and vibrant textiles on their heads, calling out their wares with melodic voices. Men haggled over fish and palm wine, their laughter echoing against the clay walls. Children darted between stalls, chasing goats and each other, their bare feet kicking up warm dust. Ada laughed freely alongside Chike, the palm wine tapper's son, whose quiet strength and gentle smile offered a grounding presence. Their bond was subtle yet undeniable, a glance, a shared smile, a moment of understanding without words. Here, life felt whole, harmonious, unbroken. Yet even one evening she knelt by the river, cradling a small wooden doll wrapped in cloth, a likeness of her mother, carved with delicate hands. The water shimmered faintly beneath her fingers, reflecting the twilight's gold and violet hues. She murmured soft words, songs her mother had once sung, almost forgotten by the world. Chike watched from the reeds, hidden yet vigilant, worry etching lines on his calm face. The air hummed with quiet energy, a subtle tension that made the hairs on the back of her neck rise. Something lingered beneath the water. Later that night, inside her hut, Ada whispered to the doll, recounting memories, fears, and questions she could not voice aloud. The oil lamp flickered, casting elongated shadows that twisted like living beings along the walls, accentuating the tribal carvings and woven mats. A thin mist seeped through the cracks, coiling toward the river as if drawn by her presence, carrying her words silently into the night. Every small creek, every sigh of the wind, every distant splash seemed charged with meaning. Chike lingered outside. By morning, the river had changed. Its waters, usually shimmering silver in the dawn, were now black as spilled ink, reflecting the red glow of the moon that still lingered stubbornly in the sky. The villagers gathered along its banks, a mixture of fear and disbelief etched on every face. Among the reeds, a small wooden doll floated, spinning slowly, its painted eyes unsettlingly lifelike. It was a mirror of Ada, a likeness so precise that even the elders flinched. Papa Nnenna, the eldest, stepped forward, his walking stick shaking in his grasp. One night, unable to ignore the growing unease, Chike followed Ada into the forest, his steps muffled by thick layers of mist that clung to the ground like a living carpet. The moonlight filtered through the palm leaves above, casting fractured patterns across their path. Ada moved with a calmness that chilled him, her trance-like steps guided by some invisible force, her hands carrying a clay bowl filled with milk and ash, an offering whose meaning only she seemed to understand. When they reached the riverbank, the air thickened, charged with energy that made the hairs on their arms stand on end. Slowly, impossibly, the waters swirled and rose, forming the shape of a woman, her face serene but her eyes glowing silver. It was Mama Enkum, Ada's mother, or something far beyond the mother she had known. Ada reached forward, tears streaking her cheeks, her voice barely a whisper. "Mother?" Chike lunged. Without warning, the river's hand shot upward, pale and strong, gripping Ada's wrist as if claiming what it had waited 7 long years to touch. The air exploded with the roar of wind and the slap of waves against the shore. Chike dove into the churning water, his arms cutting through the darkness to reach her. Pain seared his palms as they glowed with intricate ripple-shaped marks, burning and pulsing with a strange, living energy. The river thrashed violently, mist and spray blinded. When Chike awoke, the world was eerily silent. The river's fury had vanished as quickly as it had erupted, leaving only a calm, almost mocking stillness in its place. He lay sprawled on the muddy shore, his body aching, his heart heavier than ever before. Around him were shards of Ada's clay bowl, scattered like fragments of hope shattered by forces beyond understanding. His hands throbbed with the glowing ripple patterns burned into his skin. Weeks passed, and Chike's life became a slow, hollow rhythm of longing and memory. He returned to the river every day, searching the glimmering surface for some trace of Ada, some sign that she still lingered. The sun hung low, painting the world in long shadows and warm golds fading to purples. One evening, a little girl approached him, shyly holding a... That night, as Chike drifted into a restless sleep by the riverbank, he dreamed. The river rose gently beneath the silver glow of the moon, parting softly to reveal Ada. She stood before him, semi-translucent yet radiant, her face calm, her eyes full of love and sorrow intertwined. Her hand reached up, brushing tenderly against his cheek, and he felt the warmth, the comfort, and the heartbreak of her farewell. The water reflected them both, perfect yet slightly distorted, bending reality as if the river itself were a bridge between the living and the remembered. Her whispered words lingered soft as mist. "Remember, love never dies. It only waits." Years later, the village remembered, and the river returned to its quiet, sacred rhythm. On the night of the red moon, villagers would gather by its banks, holding white flowers and palm wine offerings, their faces awash in the soft glow of firelight mingling with silver moonlight. Children stared in awe as fireflies swirled above the water like tiny spirits dancing in the night air. Papa Nnenna's voice, though long gone from the living world, echoed in their memories. "The river is not evil. It only remembers." And the river shimmered in response, gentle and patient, a living memory of love, sacrifice, and the wisdom of respecting forces beyond understanding. The river never forgets. Even as storm clouds rolled across the horizon, stirring the palms in restless whispers, the water remained a mirror of memory. From its surface came the faint echo of laughter, soft and haunting, a reminder of those who had passed, yet lingered in the world of spirits. The village of Oba-Nso slept beneath the twilight, safe yet aware that the river watched, patient and eternal. In the ripples of the water, if one looked closely, Ada's serene face appeared, eyes closed in quiet peace, a gentle testament to love, courage, and the sacred bonds that transcend life and death. And so the river waits, always, for the next story, the next heart brave enough to listen.